Vasudevaya. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudire nashtaprayeshu vadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttam shloke bhaktir bhavati nashtike. So continuing with the discussion on Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, chapter 20, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructs Sanatana Goswami in the science of the absolute truth. Text 123 onwards. Shastra Guru Atma Rupe Apanare Janan Krishna Mora Prabhu Trata Jive Rahaye Gyan. The forgetful conditioned soul is educated by Krishna through the Vedic literatures, the realized spiritual master and the super soul. Through these, he can understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead as he is, and he can understand that Lord Krishna is his eternal master and deliverer from the clutches of Maya. In this way, one can acquire real knowledge of his conditioned life and can come to understand how to attain liberation. Being forgetful of his real position, the conditioned soul may take help from Shastra, Guru, and Super Soul within his heart. Krishna is situated within everyone's heart as a Super Soul, as stated in Bhagavad Gita, Ishvara Sarva Bhutanam Hriddeshe Arjun Tishtati. The Supreme Lord is situated in everyone's heart, O Arjun, and is directing the wanderings of all living entities, who are seated as on a machine made of the material energy. As a Shaktivesh avatar, Vyasadeva, Krishna teaches the conditioned soul through the Vedic literatures. Krishna externally appears as a spiritual master and trains the conditioned soul to come to Krishna consciousness. So much arrangement Krishna makes so that we go back to Krishna, where we really belong, not be stuck here. When his original Krishna consciousness is revived, the conditioned soul is delivered from the material clutches. Thus, a conditioned soul is always helped by the Supreme Personality of Godhead in three ways: by the scriptures, the spiritual master, and the super soul within the heart. The Lord is a deliverer of the conditioned soul and is accepted as a supreme Lord of all living entities. Krishna, as Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Sarva Dharman Parityaja, abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. This same instruction is found throughout all Vedic literatures. Sadhu, Shastra, Guru act as the representatives of Krishna. And the Krishna consciousness movement is also taking place. Prabhupada said, the Krishna consciousness movement is also taking place all over the universe. Whoever takes advantage of this opportunity becomes liberated. All over the universe. We don't know what's going on in the rest of the world. Veda Shastra kahe sambandha abhideya prayojan. Krishna prape sambandha bhakti prapter sadhan. The Vedic literatures give information about the living entity's eternal relationship with Krishna, which is called sambandha. The living entity's understanding of this relationship and his acting accordingly is called abhideya, or devotional service. Basically, that is, acting accordingly is devotional service. Returning home back to Godhead is the ultimate goal of life and is called prayojan. Abhideya Nama Bhakti, Prema Prayojan, Purushartha Shiromani, Prema Mahadhan. Devotional service or sense activity for the satisfaction of the Lord is called Abhideya, because it can develop one's original love of Godhead, which is the goal of life. This goal is the living entity's topmost interest and greatest wealth. Thus, one attains a platform of transcendental loving service unto the Lord. So, this goal means attaining the love of God, original love of God. That is the greatest wealth because it cannot never be taken away and it doesn't reduce either. The conditioned soul is bewildered by the external material energy, which fully engages him in sense gratification in various ways. Due to engagement in material activities, one's original Krishna consciousness is covered. However, as the Supreme Father of all living entities, Krishna wants his sons to return home back to God. Therefore, he personally comes to deliver Vedic literatures like the Bhagavad Gita. He engages his confidential servants who serve as spiritual masters and enlighten the conditioned living entities. Being present in everyone's heart, the Lord gives the living entities a conscience whereby they can accept the Vedas and the spiritual master. So the Lord gives the living entities a conscience, but to whom? Those, first of all, those who have good bank balance of Agyat Sukriti, and those who have this kind of desire, somehow they have developed this desire. So the conscience whereby they can accept the Vedas and the spiritual master. In this way, the living entity can understand his constitutional position and his relationship with the Supreme. As personally enunciated by the Lord himself in Bhagavad Gita, Vedesya Sarvaraham Vedya. Through the study of Vedanta, one may become fully aware of his relationship with the Supreme Lord and act accordingly. In this way, one may ultimately attain the platform of loving service to the Lord. It's in the living entity's best interest to understand the Supreme Lord. Understand the Supreme Lord means understand his instructions and act accordingly. Unfortunately, the living entities have forgotten that this is in their best interest, and therefore Srimad Bhagavatam says, Nate vidu svarthagatim hi Vishnu. Because most of the living entities, they don't know what is the real goal. What is the real swartha? Everyone wants to achieve life's ultimate goal, but due to being absorbed in the material energy, we waste our time with sense gratification. Through the study of Vedic literatures, of which the essence is the Bhagavad Gita, one comes to Krishna consciousness. Thus one engages in devotional service called Abhideya. When the living entity actually develops love of Godhead, he has reached the ultimate goal, Prayojan. In other words, one who becomes fully Krishna conscious has attained the perfection of life. But that perfection, it just takes time, that's all. We have to continue with this Abhideya process of devotional service. Krishna Madhurya Sevananda Praptira Karana. Krishna Seva Kare Yaar Krishna Rasa Swada. When one attains a transcendental bliss of an intimate relationship with Krishna, he renders service to him and tastes the mellows of Krishna consciousness. Ihate drishtanta yaiche daridrera ghare sarvagya asi dukha dekhi puche taha. The following parable may be given. Once a learned astrologer came to the house of a poor man and seeing his distressed condition, questioned him. Sometimes we go to an astrologer or palmist when we are in a distressed condition or when we want to know the future. The living entity in conditioned life is always distressed by the threefold miseries of material existence. Under the circumstances, he is inquisitive about his position. For instance, Sanatana Goswami approached the Supreme Personality of God and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to ask him why he was in a distressed condition. This is the position of all conditioned souls. We are always in a distressed condition, and an intelligent man naturally becomes inquisitive. This position is called Brahma Jigyasa, Athata Brahma Jigyasa. Brahm here refers to the Vedic literature. One should consult the Vedic literature to know why the conditioned soul is always in a distressed condition. The Vedic literatures are meant to free the conditioned soul from the miserable conditions of material existence. In this chapter, the story of astrologer Sarvagya and the poor man is very instructive. So Vedic literatures are meant to free the conditioned soul because Vedas means knowledge. Literal meaning is knowledge. So they give the knowledge of everything. Who am I? Who's the Supreme Lord? What's my relationship with Him? How to work on that relationship? But the Vedic literatures also talk about, or most of the shlokas of Vedas are about karma kanda, because people are more interested in that. They think we can get relief from these material distresses everybody is suffering from, but we can get relieved by doing this tapa, this yajna, this puja, this dhan. But ultimately, Vedas do teach this is all temporary, whatever we are trying to do. But since not everybody is going to come into bhakti, so they do, Vedas teach people to at least follow the Vedic scriptures, even Karma Kanda, at least follow them. Don't become an atheist. This is what atheists think, right? When they see so much of misery in the material world, then the first question is, if there is God who's all loving, why He doesn't remove the miseries of people? If He's omniscient, He should know everybody's misery, so He is all loving and all potent. He should remove. If the people are still suffering, then means there is no God. So this is how atheists think. So Vedas like, at least follow the karma kanda, fine, follow it. Follow the Vedas. So the astrologer said, Tumi kene dukhi tomar ache pitridhan, tomare na kahila anyatra chadila jeev. The astrologer asked, why are you unhappy? Your father was very wealthy, but he did not disclose his wealth to you because he died elsewhere. Sarvagyera vakyakare dhanera uddeshe. Aiche Veda Purana Jive Krishna Upadesha. Just as the words of the astrologer give news of the poor man's treasure, the Vedic literatures advise one about Krishna consciousness when one is inquisitive to know why he is in a distressed material condition. Sarvagyera Vakya Mula Dhana Anubandha Sarva Shastra Upadesha Shri Krishna Sambandha. By the words of the astrologer, the poor man's connection with the treasure was established. Similarly, the Vedic literature advises us that our real connection is with Sri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In Bhagavad Gita, Shri Krishna says, Vedaham samatitani vartamanani chacho. O Arjun, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, I know everything that has happened in the past, all that is happening in the present, and all things that are yet to come. I also know all living entities. All living entities. That is Krishna. He knows. But me, no one knows. Na tu ved na kashtan. Mam tu ved na kashtan. Thus, Krishna knows the cause of the distressed condition of the conditioned soul. He therefore descends from his original position to instruct the conditioned soul and inform him about his forgetfulness of his relationship with Krishna. Krishna exhibits himself in his relationships in Vrindavan and at the battle of Kurukshetra, so that people will be attracted to him and will return home back to Godhead. He performs these superhuman, wonderful street pastimes. Street in Vrindavan, of course. Um, those who don't understand him, killing of demons, it's not so sweet. But for devotees, everything is sweet. So why? So people get attracted to him, get attracted to his pastimes, get attracted to his instructions, and become eligible to return home back to Godhead. Krishna also says in the Bhagavad Gita that he is a proprietor of all universes, the enjoyer of everything that be, and the friend of everyone. So all we got to do is just have faith in him. He's a Suhridam Sarvabhuta. He's a best friend, well-wishing friend. Just have to have faith in him and follow his instructions. If we revive our original intimate relationship with Krishna, our distressed condition in the material world will be mitigated. Everyone is trying to adjust to the distressed conditions of material existence, but the basic problems cannot be solved unless one is in an intimate relationship with Krishna. So this is the whole idea, to have an intimate relationship with him. बापेर धन अच्छे ज्ञाने धन नाही पाए तबे सर्वज्ञ कहे तारे प्राप्ति रो पाए. Although being assured of his father's treasure, the poor man cannot acquire this treasure by such knowledge alone, that you have the treasure, or your father left you a treasure. Therefore, the astrologer had to inform him of the means whereby he could actually find the treasure. Ei sthane ache dhan yadi dakhine khudibe, bhimarula baruli uthibe dhan na paibe. Astrologer said the treasure is in this place, but if you dig towards the southern side, the wasp and drones will rise and you will not get your treasure. Pashime khudibe taha yaksha ekahai, se vigna karibe dhane hata na pada. If you dig on the western side, there is a ghost who will create such a disturbance that your hands will not even touch the treasure. Utire khudile ache Krishna ajagare, dhan nahi pabe, khudite gilibe samare. If you dig on the northern side, there is a big black snake that will devour you if you attempt to dig up the treasure. Purva dike tate mati alpa khudite, dhanera jhari padi beka tomare hatete. However, if you dig up a small quantity of dirt on the eastern side, your hands will immediately touch the part of treasure. Okay. So what is this all about? Digging on south, west, and north, and east. The Vedic literatures, including the Puranas, state that according to the position of the conditioned soul, there are different processes: Karma Kanda, Jnana Kanda, the yogic processes, and the Bhakti Yoga process. Karma Kanda is compared to wasps and drones that will simply bite if one takes shelter of them. Then Jnanakand, the speculative process, is simply like a ghost who creates mental disturbances. Yoga, the mystic process, is compared to a black snake that devours people by the impersonal cultivation of Kaivalya. However, if one takes to Bhakti Yoga, he becomes quickly successful. In other words, through Bhakti Yoga, one's hands touch the hidden treasure without difficulty. So idea is, do not get into Karma Kanda, Jnana Kanda, or Hatha Yoga. Just adopt Bhakti Yoga. The goal of all the revealed scriptures and Vedic injunctions is Krishna, as he himself says in Bhagavad Gita. Since the Vedas enjoin one to search out Krishna and take shelter at his lotus feet, and since no Vedic process but devotional service will enable one to do this, one has to take to devotional service. According to the Bhagavad Gita, only the bhakti process is said to be definitive. Bhaktya mam abhijanati. This is the conclusive statement of the Vedas, and one has to accept this process if one is serious in searching for Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In this connection, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur gives the following statement. The eastern side represents devotional service to Lord Krishna. Southern side represents the process of fruitive activity, karma kanda, which ends in material gain. The western side represents jnana kanda, the process of mental speculation, or sometimes siddhi kanda, the mystic yoga system. The northern side represents mystic yoga, or sometimes the speculative method. It's only the eastern side, devotional service, that enables one to attain life's real goal. On the southern side, there are fruitive activities by which one is subject to the punishment of Yamaraj. When one follows the system of fruitive activity, his material desires remain prominent. Consequently, the results of this process are compared to wasps and drones, and they'll bite you to death. The living entity is bitten by the wasp and drones of fruitive activity and thus suffers in material existence, birth after death, birth after birth. One cannot become free from material desires by following this process. The propensity for material enjoyment never ends. And it is so true. Therefore, the cycle of birth and death continues and the spirit soul suffers perpetually. The mystic yoga process is compared to a black snake that devours the living entity and injects him with poison. Ultimate goal of the yoga system is to become one with the Absolute. This means finishing one's personal existence. But the spiritual part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead has an eternal individual existence. Bhagavad Gita confirms that the individual soul existed in the past, is existing in the present, and will continue to exist as an individual in the future. So artificially trying to become one with the Absolute is suicidal. So one cannot annihilate his natural condition. So this is like a big snake, ajgar, right? It's going to devour you. A yaksha, a protector of riches, will not allow anyone to take away riches for enjoyment. Such a demon will simply create disturbances. In other words, a devotee will not depend on his material resources, but on the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who can give real protection. This is called Rakshashyati iti Vishvasa. This is Bhaktivinoda Thakur's Sharanagati. There are 6 symptoms of Sharanagati, and one is Rakshashyati iti Vishvasa, means Avashya Rakhibe Krishna. The surrendered soul must accept the fact that his real protector is Krishna, not his material acquisitions. So considering all these points, devotional service to Krishna is a real treasure house for the living entity. When one comes to the platform of devotional service, he always remains opulent in the association of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One who is bereft of devotional service is swallowed by the black snake of the yoga system and bitten by the wasps and drones of fruitive activity, and he suffers consequent material miseries. Sometimes a living entity is misled into trying to merge into spiritual existence or in Brahm Jyoti, thinking himself as good as the Supreme Personality of God. This means that when he comes to the spiritual platform, he'll be disturbed and will again return to the material platform. So in all the other processes, there are problems, but not in Bhakti Yoga. Such people may become sannyasis, but unless they take shelter of Krishna's lotus feet, they will return to the material platform to perform philanthropic activities. In this way, one's spiritual life is lost. This is to be understood as being devoured by the black snake. Okay, I guess I can stop here. See anybody have any questions or comments?
Nice class, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
you.
Ma'am.
Hare Krishna.
Okay, you all have a safe and wonderful day. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Ram.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Thank you, Prabhuji.